Desperado, why don't you come to your senses? You've been out riding fences for so long now. Oh, you're a hard one. I know that you got your reasons. These things that are pleasing you can hurt you somehow. And you know what else can hurt you? When you land on the ring apron, on the outside of the ropes, because that's the hardest part of the ring, and that's what we're listening to right now. My name is Bob, B-O-B, 3 letters, 2 of which are the same backwards as forwards. It is what it is. I am what I am. I used to spell it with 2 O's. One of O is silent. It's European. Don't make fun and grow up. We're doing stuff. We're saying things, jumping off the walls, bouncing off the ceiling, hit to that scene down like a clown. Out of here like Vladimir, chilling like Bob Dylan, on penicillin, daddy, off the hook, off the wall, off the chain, under the table, under the weather, under the radar. What do you say when you don't tip the veal? Try the waitresses. We're punching the clock, passing the buck, working hard but hardly working, talking about NXT on Wednesday the 20th of 2021. The world is talking about the inauguration. The world is talking about Joe Biden. The world is talking about Lady Gaga singing. The world is talking about J-Lo singing at the thing. The world is talking about Garth Brooks, who looked like he was late to a super spreader event. The world is pretending that they like poetry. No one liked poetry, okay? The whole thing was great, but be honest, that part kind of sucked. Yet NXT goes on. The beat goes on. Yeah, doing the thing here, and the beat goes on. Alright. Oh, it's the Hulu edition. I know I missed stuff, because this is the Hulu edition. Featuring the first matches, maybe the second week of matches, I forget. Yes, the second week of matches of the Dusty Cup, which is a dirty cup that no one washed. It's a Dusty Cup. Hulk Hogan slams Andre the Giant to kick off NXT, and then what happens? I watched this yesterday, and that's when I always forget what happens. Oh, Beth Phoenix is back! Yay, Beth Phoenix! Well, she's physically back. Okay, great. And then Kushida and Leon Ruff are tag team partners, and then they're going to wrestle The Way, because we have to have the Garganos. So Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. It was, they had a match, and there were, like, big bumps and stuff, and Leon Ruff kicks out of a big move, a big twisty move, which I don't think he should have kicked out of. I forgot what it was. But Kushida defeats Johnny Gargano, the North American TV champion, with a wacky bridge. It was kind of like a Northern Lights, but he hooks the arms. 6,331 stars the match gets. Okay, so I see what they're doing here, and you're going to see this throughout the broadcast. I'm going to call it a broadcast because I'm 90. You're going to see this throughout the television program. Again, I said television and program because I'm 90. I have gout in my foot. The Dusty Cup, the Dusty Classic, is ultimately what it is. It's just a vehicle to get every little story from here to there, because everyone is mad at each other, can cost each other a spot in, and then want revenge. And in this case, we can pin a singles champion and set that match up for later, because they're going to force us to watch Kushida and Gargano at some point. I understand Kushida wears, I understand he wears the Marty McFly Back to the Future thing, but, like, I'm 40, so the match was, the movie was 5, I was 5 when the movie came out, and I don't give a shit. I watched that movie a month ago on Netflix. It's a popular movie and television program streaming site. I don't have time to explain how it works. I watched Back to the Future a month ago, and I still don't give a shit. So why do we give a shit? Now he dresses like a Back to the Future. Everyone watching, NXT fans are like all 30 and unders. They don't give a shit about this. Dress like the Crow. Oh wait, we have a 60-year-old man to do that. Nothing makes any sense. So Kushida beat Gargano, so we're going to see that match later, I guess, at some point in the near future. Pete Dunne cuts a promo. They did it. They've been doing this a lot, and I should have called this out earlier to both my listeners. They did it jump cut, like YouTube style, like you say a sentence and then you cut it and you say a sentence, so those people could think they're talented for being able to do 13-second takes. Yay. but they suck. It was a negative pod. This wasn't my plan was not to have a negative podcast at the very beginning of this thing. Remember, I was like, my goal was I was going to be right in the middle. I wasn't going to be all nerdy, marking out, sucking AEW balls, and I wasn't going to be all grumpy old man like corny, even though he's clearly my favorite guy. And I wasn't going to be all fake and ass kissing like Bruce, like trying to sound like I'm trying to get a job, even though I already have the job. I wasn't going to try any of that. I was going to be the most peaceful, and I ended up, that lasted about 18 seconds. I hate everything. What happened after this? The jump cut. So Pete Dunne cuts the jump cut YouTube thing. Like he's going to be an influencer on Instagram. It's a social media application. I don't have time to explain this right now. Then we see a little bit of Scarlett and the other guy, and they come down to the ring, and she's wearing like an all leather pants, and my underwear moved. And he beat this guy called Shanti Adonis, and how is the Saito thing, the side suplex thing where he dumps you right on your head? How is that not his finish? He uses the club in the back thing that he used to be Priest. I guess Priest will probably debut in a Rumble for the main roster, which is silly because they're on the same network. There was a little bit, I hate saying botch because that's so nerdy and internet marky and it's never used right. But there was a little hiccup. There was a little speed bump in the road. And this is not the referee's fault, but she did her job, but it sucked for everybody. Where Cross clubs the dude in the head, and when he covers the dude, Cross has his arm under the dude's shoulder, which actually picks his shoulder up off the mat. And she was right. But unfortunately, the referee, she said what she was thinking, and she very audibly said, "Do I count?" She's don't. That's one of the negatives of no fans too. We can hear all these things. But anyway, and then of course the replay they have to cut it out, which is fine. Yeah, what happened? Oh, then his buddy got choked out. The dude's buddy Desmond Troy got choked out by Cross, and then they made crazy faces. Then the MSK is here. They said some really unfunny stuff. I figured out what MSK stands for. You know how the Undertaker's BSK is the Bone Street Crew? Well, MSK is the Midget Street Crew. The Midget Street Crew said some really unfunny things and were annoying to put a period on a sentence of their annoying match from the week before. Then Imperium, the foreign guy, the European dudes, they wrestled the Lucha House Party. And the Luchas won, to my surprise. They didn't think that was going to happen. Match gets 406 stars. Oh, I didn't give stars for Cross and the other guy. 19 stars the match gets. After that, I tuned out of the Imperium and the Luchas. I like Imperium just fine, and the Luchas are also there. I got up to take a grand metal leak during the match. Grand Metal League. That's funny every time. Grand Metal League. I'm so happy with myself right now. I'm pleased. I'm very pleased. Imperium loses the match somehow. I didn't even look up. I just heard the 3 count. I went, oh, fuck me running. Then Alexander Wolf shows up from across the pond and stares at his teammates. And he's unhappy with his teammates for losing, I would imagine. Then we do a weigh-in and a tale of the tape for Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, because they're going to have the second ever Fight Pit match later on this evening. And the weigh-in, and Tommaso only weighing in at 201, to my surprise, and 225 for Thatcher. They had like a tale of the tape thing to give it the real fight feel, the big fight feel. Big fight feel. Beth Phoenix then does a ceremony, and there's pictures of all the NXT women who've gone on to be on Raw and SmackDown, except for the ones who didn't do so hot. And she's hyping up the women in the Dusty Classic, and she did a very great job. Beth always does a great job. I like Beth. Hulu. I'm going to use this as the caption, though. Hulu captioning is hilarious because it's wrong half the time. And for some reason, when Beth Phoenix said women went on to main event pay-per-views, they put main event in quotes, and I don't know why, but it really makes it look like Hulu hates women's wrestling, and it made me laugh. Hulu, it's TV. No, Hulu, it's misogyny in the palm of your hand. With limited commercial sexism. Toni Storm teams up with Mercedes Martinez, and they face Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro in the tag team. That should never be a tag team because we can't pronounce all that. And then Io shows up. She is the current reigning women's champion of NXT, and she takes Mercedes out of the match. She bounces her off of the announcer's table or something to that nature. And then Casey Catanzaro does a wacky triple Lindy up in the air, and she pins Toni Storm for 3,711 stars. That match gets 3,711 stars. That match gets. So that again, this is example number 2 of just a Hulu edition. I don't even know what I missed. We're going to use the Dusty thing to further everything else, which I guess makes sense, but. If everybody wins because someone else interfered, like nobody really wins any of these matches, it gets to be. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what you think, Bob, you stupid idiot. Shut up with your gout. Jeez, voice, why would you do that? Finn Balor, the NXT men's champion. He's the champion of the men's. Talks to Steven Regal. And I guess he needs a partner. And then it's definitely going to be Kyle. They clearly made it obvious he's going to talk to Kyle O'Reilly at some point in this broadcast. And then we hype up the Fight Pit. And we see dual chest hair from Tommaso and Timothy Thatcher. Why did I write that down? I'm an idiot. So they're making their way. The ring announcer, what was her problem? Ring announcer's problem. They got this lady who was pretty good on a takeover. She put a little bit of deep and aggression into her voice and everything. But this one was so fake. It sounded like an old Transformers or G.I. Joe or He-Man commercial. I know both my listeners will love those references. Where you have the kid holding the figure like he's holding up. I can't pick Cobra Commander. He has a high-pitched voice. Destro has a deep voice, and the kid will hold Destro, and the kid will try to do a deep voice and be like, "Oh, got you, G.I. Joe," and then it's supposed to be cute. She put so much over-the-top, I'm being a badass monster growl into the thing, it sounded very silly. And she did it borderline on some takeovers, and those were fine, but this was past the line where, okay, I got goofy, and I didn't believe you. You looked like you were trying to sell me Battle Armor Skeletor. Didn't work. Cool figure, though. Finn Balor goes into the Undisputed Era locker room. He calls himself the Cat, and Kyle O'Reilly agrees to be his friend for next week in a tag team competition. So that's nice. Then we have the Fight Pit. Oh, this was a lot of fun. Two badass dudes beating the shit out of each other. They stopped. My only nitpick, and this is really in production and not the wrestlers, is that they started up on a balcony thingy, and that was great. But they have to get down somehow, and they went to break, at least in Hulu. They went to break, they came back, and the guys were in the ring. How the hell did they get down? And they beat each other up. I was very surprised to see Tommaso lose the match and tap out. I think I see why they did it, because clearly they're setting up some kind of forced tag team, because I think Regal later on Twitter made him do it. But the finish is what I remember most, which is good. It's actually a sign of a good match. Who cares? Where Tommaso got tied up in the corner between the two sides of the ring, and as he was tied up, Thatcher took advantage and gave him the stretch muffler thing, which sounds like some kind of dirty sex thing, I guess, but you put your neck behind the guy's knee, and then you crank his leg, and you bust it. And the announcers, I don't remember which announcer it was, but they made a point to mention the surgery that Tommaso's had on the knee before. So the announcers did what they could to protect Tommaso, and he pretty much didn't know where to go or break his knee. And I think later there was like a parking lot thing, and they didn't really shake hands, but Tommaso's like, "Hey, Thatcher, how come you didn't break it?" And then he stopped and he said, "Respect." And then they both looked at each other's chest hair. So that'll be interesting to see where that goes. I could do without seeing Midget Street Crew ever again. I'm done already with them. I saw half their match and I hated it. Fight Pit is clearly the match here. Timothy Thatcher's undefeated in it too, so they're going to make a point. Who's going to be the one to come along and finally beat him in one of these bad boys? I don't know the answer. Oh, Kyle O'Reilly, that would be a good candidate for later. We can do this later. I mean, that's right away. Right now they got some Finn, Dunn, Kyle stuff to sort out, figure out what they're doing there. But I assume Cole and Roddy will just win the Dusty thing and something. I don't know, guys. Because the Fight Pit has no ropes and no buckles and no ring posts, and it's just a cage on the outside of the ring, you can't. It's really hard to take a bump on the ring apron, which, if you didn't know, Hulu wrestling fans, is the hardest part of the ring.